Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Coast to coast college football.
Oh, the band is out on the field. He's going to go into the end zone. He's going to go out of there.
The sickest college football podcast.
There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game. He ran the missed field goal back. He ran it back 109 yards.
It's going to be sick.
That's right.
That's right.
Sick Podcast, Coast to Coast College Football Show. I'm John Lone, the East Coast side. He's Dan Lynch, the West Coast transplant. Dan, it is after week 6. Should we be like every other show and say, can you believe it's already headed into week 7 in the college football world? Where did all the time go?
I can believe it. I could believe it. We're going to be like not like everyone. I can believe that we're here. Okay. Because it's been insane. Every single week there has been something. It's not like the other seasons before where the first half of the season is pretty much cookie cutter and we understand everything. I can believe that we are here. So no, we're not going to be like every other show and be like, oh man, summer was just here and now the leaves are cool. Keep up with the times, dude. No, college football has been amazing. I can't believe it's been fast, but no, I can't believe we're here.
Yeah, I think the thing that's unbelievable, to take a page out of that phrase, is some of the teams that are now in dire straits. Some that we did not expect, some that the preseason pundits told us were going to be fine. They're going to compete for conference championships. And now we don't know what's going to happen with these guys. Looking at you, Penn State. Were you at this Rose Bowl game, Dan? Now you've had to have your fair share of opportunities and work-related duties at these contests. Surely you were there for the best game that's happened for UCLA's program in a very long time, right?
John, I've been to pretty much every single UCLA home game since 2019. I've been to game where I was 1 out of 3,500.
You're the only one there.
Yeah,
everybody in the crowd. Yeah,
national crowd. I send my annoying tweet office for the day, and it's me and literally 3,500 other people there. I had other job related duties that day on Saturday, so no, I did not make it to the Rose Bowl that day for probably the best regular season win in UCLA history within the last 25 years. Wasn't able to make it. Shout out to the UCLA SIDs all over there. They do a great job too. But no, I unfortunately could not make it to the Blue Out. I have seen Penn State play there before in an actual Rose Bowl game. So I was like, you know what? Maybe got to do something else this weekend. But yeah, did not make it, but hell of a win, man. Jerry Neuheisel needs to get a ton of credit for what he did against one of the best on paper defenses in the country. The other thing too is the UCLA interim head coach, Tim Skipper, also needs to get a ton of credit. I know the Neuheisel story is awesome. He's a media darling. His dad's on TV and the radio and stuff. I get all that. Really cool. Big fan of Neuheisel. Worked with him before. We both have. But really, Tim Skipper really getting the team really prepared for this game needs to get a lot more credit. And I understand it's the interim role, blah, 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 but he needs to get more credit too.
The hot seat question, of course, continues for one James Franklin. Now, this season, we assumed, if any, losses would come to Oregon and Ohio State, those being the toughest opponents. Penn State, the whiteout against the Ducks. You thought that might bring them some help. It did at the end of the game, at least, but they didn't really have a great first 3 quarters, and that ended up biting them. And going to Ohio State, now the number 1 team in the country, you just put 2 and 2 together and think, well, if you're going to lose one, that might be it. Hopefully it's close. We'll see you again in the Big Ten championship, maybe, or at least the college football playoff. Well, if you know any Penn State people, and I'm sure you do, being an East Coaster, it's the end of the world. Again, it seems, for this program, which just happens, wash, rinse, repeat. Every year there's a loss that this is it. Why do we have this guy? This was one of the worst ones, this UCLA loss, for we got to get rid of James Franklin. We're never going to win with him. I don't think that's going to happen, honestly. I mean, the $56 million, whatever it is, buyout will be flashing in bold, italicized, and underlines is one of the main reasons.
Yeah.
But we've talked about it before on this show. I just don't know what the answer is unless you can tell us where the next steps will be in the program, who you think can lead it. We still should wait, perhaps, for the rest of the season to play out. And if they handle their business, they can still make it into the college football playoff with, at this point, that being the biggest thing that they need to do. So we don't necessarily have to press the panic button quite yet on the James Franklin experience, but we're pretty close. The finger is right above the button as one of those memes. Which way are you going to go? It's just really disappointing to see that performance. And then after the game, the excuse is like, well, the travel, and we had some guys banged up from the previous game, and there were other things. It just happened the way it did, and that's on me as the coach, and I have to get that squared away and fixed up. Dude, half your starters, your whole starting offense and defense can be hurt. You should still be able to go out and beat UCLA. You just didn't show up. You thought that this was going to be a cakewalk game, get a little sun, get a little tan before the rest of the Big Ten schedule that you think matters starts, and you weren't ready to go. You should have won 42-7, and instead you got blown off the field and made it close at the end. I just don't understand a performance like that. Like, it can't happen at this stage of your program. It just can't. You have too much talent to have that happen.
And John, it wasn't a fluke either. Like, UCLA beat them up.
Yeah.
And the college football product is becoming so similar to the Sunday NFL product, where really every single game someone can get beat. Every single Saturday someone can get beat. And going to the beginning of the show where I was like, I can believe we are here at week 7, is because so much has happened every single week, and so many crazy little things that we're just not used to as college football fans and people who report on this has happened. This weekend at the Rose Bowl is just the perfect example of like, hey, if you show up and you have a good game plan and you actually have a decent quarterback on the team who could make plays with his legs and also beat you with his arms, and have an okay offensive line that could just get you chunk yards of at least average, 3 to 4 yards a run, which UCLA did against Penn State. Again, a very talented Penn State team. You're going to have at least 2 or 3 kids on that team going into the NFL draft, like rounds 2 and 3 next year. So really terrible loss, a terrible loss. The travel, I get it. It's tough. I mean, Penn State is a school much like UCLA and like, Washington and USC, where the student athletes, I do believe, are going to class. So, you can't just travel on a Thursday and say, hey, whatever, you got, study hall on Friday and go. Like, no, they don't really play that way there. So it's tough. It's tough. It's tough for me. I mean, I did it 2 weeks ago. It took me about 2 or 3 days to adjust back to West Coast time. Like, It's not easy to do. And then, I'm going to go play a Division I football game. No, it's hard, man. But still, you can't use that as an excuse. This is what you get signed up for. This is why you're making $56 million a year from the Big Ten to play these crazy long games from across.
And when you've been the beneficiary of teams having to travel to Happy Valley for all these years now, who have to deal with that travel, as we're talking about, you weren't talking about that post game and throwing them some flowers and saying, wow, it must have been tough to have to fly in here, and they only got here on Friday, and here we were playing this noon game. That goes out the window when it's on the other foot, surprisingly.
Well, yeah, of course. And like, also what people don't realize is like Happy Valley is in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania.
It very much is.
You're flying into, if you're going to a Penn State game, I'm assuming Oregon flew into, I guess, Philly, and then took a bus or a charter from there. Like, how does that work? I don't know. Were they flying to Harrisburg? I have no idea. But you
have to. There's
Harrisburg.
There's enough travel from the airport to get to where you're actually going, to get where you're able to stay, because all those hotels get booked by the fans. Like, it's not like you're just rolling up there, a la Clemson on their bus, where it takes you 2 minutes to get to the field, and we have to put that on TV for whatever reason.
No, but here's with that thing, a terrible loss, John. I horrible, but they're not dead yet.
They're not dead yet.
They're not dead yet. If we want to say the same things about Penn State, then we have to be saying the same exact things about Notre Dame, who are what? Still alive. This is why I love the playoff. This is why I love the extended version of the playoff, because it would suck if just like Penn State and Notre Dame were just out now. Like, oh, all right, well, you got one loss or you got two losses. See you later. No, you have a chance. They're going to need help. Totally, you're going to need help. Like I think right now, if you're a Penn State fan, you should be paying attention to USC because you need to get USC ranked. So if USC gets ranked and they play Notre Dame and Notre Dame loses to them and Penn State continues to win out, you could get back into the playoff talk, right? So like there's just weird little things that if we look into the future, like it can happen. But the best way to get into the playoff is just by winning games, bro. And James, I don't think he's going to lose his job. I think he's a really good ball coach. I think he has a really good staff. But man, dude, you lost to UCLA. UCLA? Like what? At the Blue Out in the Rose Bowl? Okay, can we make this debate? Is this the worst loss in top 25 history?
I mean, it's up there. It really is.
Yeah.
This was just, even I think at halftime, Penn State was still like, a field goal minus. You couldn't even get good odds on UCLA when they were blowing them out because everybody thought like, well, they'll figure it out. It's going to be tough, but they'll figure it out. Like even Vegas was like, what's happening to these guys? This should not be.
UCLA gave them chances too.
Yeah.
Like multiple chances of being like, dude, Nico, like bad goal line play right there. Like, what are we doing? Like, you're now going to punt the ball to them with 35 seconds. I'm like, all right, the game's over, So the only other game that I think could top that is it was a week 1 or week 2 game, Appalachian State versus Michigan. Wasn't Michigan number 1 in the country?
Yeah, they were up there for that one. I do remember that.
So that's the only one that I can think of that might rival that. But still, bro, UCLA got blown up by UNLV, man. Like
it's tough. It's tough. And again, it's not like they lost their starting quarterback and this guy was out and that guy was out. Like UCLA has just been in the doldrums for years now, unfortunately. And we're supposedly still going to be there, but here comes this new OC. Hey,
Jerry. To our Canadian fans, Jerry Springer show. Look it up on YouTube. I'm sure they have, but the famous Jerry.
There's an entire documentary on Netflix if you want to experience what it was like for us to call out sick in grade school.
Oh, hell yeah.
The day watching Jerry Springer on TV, which I'm sure our parents were thrilled about because it's really not a show that anyone under the age of 17, that NC-17 came in pretty hard on that program. Shout out to
at 12 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's right there. Like, okay, Price is Right, Jerry Springer, Maury. We'll just get all these shows for the kiddos that are not at school today. No wonder why we all are the way we are. The best generation, folks, millennials. Look that up too. You mentioned good quarterback play.
Yeah.
We finally saw a little bit of that from Florida after we had to rip DJ Lagway for his 82 interceptions earlier this season. Beaten 9th-ranked Texas 29-21, handing Texas their first SEC loss.
Mm-hmm.
Not again a great showing for Arch Manning. We talked about the Sam Houston celebration. Maybe don't get a little ahead of yourself there, buddy. 263, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions for Arch. Lagway goes 298, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. A huge win for Florida as they continue riding that roller coaster with Billy Napier. That's one of those that, I mean, you have to have all these now really on their terrible schedule, but what a punch in the face to Texas. Just surprising to see that offensive line play just not be there with all these Lamborghinis and stuff that you have in the parking lots. You couldn't get a couple guys to block. I mean, we're finding that out throughout not only college, but the National Football League. There's just not a lot of names going around that could help you when it comes to the offensive line play and how practices have been impacting that and not having pads. And there's a whole scheme of things that Jeff Schwartz could come on here and tell us about how the offensive line play in sports is just completely going away. But huge win for Florida and another head scratcher from Texas. What are we doing over there? This is supposed to be it. Again, plenty of time for them to figure things out.
Mm-hmm.
But Florida throws a couple of these wins together. It's going to be a difficult conversation again for the Billy Napier era if this is going to be it for him. That's a great win for them.
Great win. I think this win more so speaks about Texas's downfalls, and the easy answer, John, is to say, "Oh, Arch is just not the guy yet," though.
Yeah.
But you can't win a game, especially when you're true sophomore quarterback, right? He's a true sophomore quarterback. Is your leading rusher on the team?
No, you cannot.
You can't. That offense is built off of the run game. It's very similar to a Lane Kiffin offense, right? Too, where you think it's all about wheeling and dealing. You're going to throw the ball deep, and boom, we're going to just score. No, that offense is based off of the run game. And let's also be honest, like you lose 4 or 5 offensive linemen from last year. One of them who was I believe a first round pick. A couple other kids who are now starting in the NFL. That's tough, man. And we said this on the last episode that we did here. Florida has about 2 or 3 guys on that defensive line who will be playing on Sunday. Yeah. So it's a tough game, a really tough environment. I think it was awesome. Just one for the state of Florida to kind of just be back, right? Like you had the Miami Florida State game. Obviously, you're going to have one team lose from that game. So, Miami won in a closer game than it looked like, the beginning, Miami definitely pulled up a little bit, but again, to go back to that main point of hey, the state of football or state of Florida is definitely back when it comes to football. I mean, you got USF, you got Miami, you got now Florida with a big win against a blue blood there too. Also, John, great uniform matchup there. Love seeing the Texas white with the Florida blue and orange. So it was great. Lagway could be impressive when he has time. I think he was more hurt than we thought. And now after this performance, I'm like, he looks like he's healthy and he looks like he's ready to go. But again, we've seen the song and dance before from Billy. What's going to happen? I mean, now it's on to the next one. You got a big win now. What's going to happen next? So the SEC is awesome this year. I love it. The parody of college football is so amazing and fun. But yeah, Florida's a really interesting team, man. Really, really interesting team. But I don't know. Arch, I'm not ready to give up on him. He needs a year. He needs a year just playing big boy football and seeing everything. And, we pretty much have thought this from the beginning of the year, right, John? He's not going to the NFL anytime soon.
His grandfather was pretty correct in saying that he'll be around for another year. I think the whole family kind of knew that was the case.
Yeah. But
I think college football like that too, because not to compare him to Tim Tebow's success, because it will never. There's no possible way it can. Tim Tebow, one of the greatest college football quarterbacks of all time. But for the media to have that Heisman conversation, what's he going to do in year 2? You could already smell and taste what's going to happen to college football if he does decide, which we assume he will, to come back for next season. They're going to be, again, part of the conversation, part of we're the favorites. And it's good for the sport if that's what they want to get people hyped up about. You just got to go out there and prove it. You win a couple games here, we've been saying, you still got a lot of time to make things happen. And if you close out the season strong, that'll only make the conversation stronger. You mentioned what's going on with Florida teams. Miami 28-22 at Florida State. Miami should probably be the number 1 team in the country based off what's happened so far, but 2's not too far behind for them. Alabama had a huge win at home against Vanderbilt. You didn't know if Diego Pavia was going to pull another rabbit out of his hat. Unfortunately for him, it didn't go that way. Alabama starting to get back to that Alabama-looking like team. Texas Tech taking down Houston and still being unbeaten in the Big 12 to show themselves off. Georgia didn't run into any trouble when Kentucky came to town. Cincinnati, quote-unquote, upset Iowa State. Everyone and their mother had the Bearcats winning that game, though. It's just been great to see some of these games get a national stage. Unfortunately for my Louisville Cardinals, 30-27 lost to 24th ranked Virginia. Just a heartbreaker. One of those, you kind of had the feeling in the beginning it wasn't going to be your night when you fumble on the first drive. They run it back for a touchdown. Now you got to play catch up the rest of the game. And then Miller Moss had one of those. He's getting sacked. He's falling down. He somehow holds himself up with his left arm and just tries to throw it to somebody. Goes right to Virginia. They return it, and then you're just stuck trying to come back the rest of the way. They find their way into overtime. Call gets overturned. They end up losing by a touchdown score there by the UVA, who's just had a great resurgence this season. Tony Elliott already matching his win total from the last 3 years, and they were favored in the rest of their games. So when it comes to the ACC, like obviously Miami is at the top of the heap now. Georgia Tech unbeaten, and they'll most likely be favored the rest of the way till they have to play Georgia to end the season. So you've got these not blue blood powerhouse teams like we talked about going to be at the top of that conference, and whether or not they'll be able to compete with Miami, if that's what the ACC championship ends up being, that'll be a whole stupid discussion that people have. Who's deserving? Oh, it should be this team. They're not going to make it in time. It's nice to see some of these teams getting a little bit national recognition in this sport. We thought this might be the year for it, and we're seeing it in the top 25. It's cool.
No doubt. Another team that that comes to mind when you're talking about teams that you don't really normally talk about, Wake Forest.
Wake
Forest
should have beat Georgia Tech. They were right there.
I know they should have. And they were in the
wasn't
game.
Called, and it screwed them.
But Virginia, man, they're pretty good. So I think we brought this topic a couple of weeks ago. We're like, okay, so Miami's definitely number one. A week ago or 2 weeks ago, Georgia Tech was number 2, and we were like, Florida State is number 3. Who's that fourth team? We're like, Virginia. Is it Virginia? Now it's no doubt Virginia.
It's Virginia.
It's going to be
senior
great.
Citizen quarterback Chandler Morris, runner-up national champ Chandler Morris.
True.
Everyone did not forget he was the TCU starter that year before he got hurt, and then Max Duggan was like, "Hey, I'm going to take this."
What up, Max?
Actually, it was Chandler in the championship game. Who knows? Maybe they score 20. To lose by 46 or whatever the final would have been.
I remember I was at that game because it was in LA, like one of the worst football games I've ever been to. I'm like walking out, and some like drunk Georgia fans like, "What up, Max?" And I'm like, we have red hair. Well, I look nothing like
him. He just
him.
thinks all redheads look the same. Apparently, what a great stereotype for you guys.
How dare you? I was actually with Coach Newhustle when we saw a worker at SoFi fall down like 20 stairs and like I'm pretty sure cracked his head open, and then Rick ran over to him and was like, "Do not get up," and then the guy got up and just continued working because that's what we do in LA. But anyway, the ACC is the conference of cannibalism. It's awesome every single week. I don't think anyone's touching or sniffing Miami. They let up a little bit too early last week, and like I was like, wait, did Mario just out Mario himself? Like, did we get that before week 7? Did he just do that?
Yeah.
But bro, their offensive line is unbelievable. 78, I forget his name right now, is the largest human being I've ever seen wear football pads. I think he's 6'9", like 380, and he moves dudes. I don't know if he's going to be.
How do you bend over, man?
I don't know.
I can't pick my kid up without thinking my back's going to go.
Yeah.
How do you just bend on the line? I don't understand that. That's of the myriad of reasons not to play football at 6'7". It's like, I don't want to be at a tight end bending down every play.
You would have been so good at GAR, bro. You would have been so good, John. You would have had a full ride scholarship to King's College as a D3 player, the first ever D3 full ride scholarship. We could have been teammates, dude. It would have been amazing. But the best player in the country, he's obviously not going to win a Heisman just because defensive players really don't win that anymore. But Bain Jr. is the best player in the country. He doesn't take off. He stops the run. I think he could cover. Like, he could cover a tight end. Like, he's just an athletic freak. And when you have the combination of that guy, a couple really good linebackers, and then that offensive line, like, man, they are really good. But I don't blame, the voters for not making Miami number 1 in the country. Like, Ohio State hasn't done anything wrong. Like, you got to keep them going forward in that. But they're right there. They're sniffing. They will be ready for it. I don't know if there's going to be an upset this weekend, but listen, Illinois is going to come prepared.
They're hosting Ohio State, a 1-17
They're hosting.
matchup.
It's at home. Luke Altmaier would love to win this game for his legacy there.
Sure.
Illinois and Brett Bielema teams historically have played up to opponents, and they've sometimes played down to opponents.
Yep.
So I could see something kind of weird happening. But Julian Sain has been really impressive. And Ohio State in general has just been really impressive. Caleb Downs, if we're gonna say Bain Jr. is the number one player in the country right now on defense, Downs is probably 2. He's really good, dude. He covers everything. It's gonna be a hell of a game. So, listen, if they lose, Miami's a clear number 1, and I don't see them really keeping that up probably till the end of the season.
Unless they lose to Louisville after both their bye weeks.
Hey, go Cards,
great
baby.
For the podcast. Believe in Louisville Network, folks. Take a look,
Hell
subscribe, rate, and review, all that nonsense. As far as numbers next to their names, playing in week 7, Alabama's going to Missouri. That's an 8-14 matchup. Indiana's going to Oregon, a 7-3 matchup. A big one. I don't know if you ever heard of the Red River rivalry, Dan.
Woo!
Oklahoma and Texas, 6th-ranked Oklahoma, with rumors that a certain quarterback, one named John Mateer, might be coming back like the earliest ever from a thumb surgery to play in this game.
I don't know if
I don't know whether they're just doing that for like sportsmanship purposes to make Texas think about it, but
apparently a Chipotle worker saw him eating a burrito bowl or a possible burrito or a possible quesadilla, kids meal. I don't know. But do they need him, John? Do they need him? I don't know.
It didn't feel like it last week.
They
didn't
don't
feel like it at all, which is shocking considering the circumstances of quarterback play across college football. They could just roll it out and see what happens, especially after what they saw Texas do this past week. It's going to be a good one.
Oklahoma's defensive line, probably the best in the country.
Yeah.
So Oklahoma is going to keep them in the game from a defensive standpoint. And I don't know if Arch has seen a defense like this since playing Georgia last year. So they're going to be pressuring him at every single angle. I don't know if you need Mateer back. Like, if you're really rushing him back and you want to make a real splash into the playoffs, like, dude, like, we just have said this the entire show. One loss doesn't kill you, man. It doesn't at all, especially to an unranked Texas team. So I get it.
Don't risk it. Especially with a thumb. It's not like something that you can kind of not worry about on your left side. This is your throwing thumb. Like, you need that. It's pretty important. There's whatever brace or thing you could wrap it in. That snap is still coming at you under shotgun. You got to handle that however many times a game. Not worth the risk, I don't think.
And this is a rivalry game. This is a rivalry. You're telling me that Texas players are not going to just tap them real quick on those up, boom. Hey, what's up, bud? Like, boom.
Yeah.
Like, that does happen.
Little pull.
Just a little something here. Like, it's just a part of the game. And dude, that's your moneymaker too, John Mateer.
Right.
Like, listen, I know you're a meathead and you're coming from Washington State. You want to make a name for yourself. This is a chance to make a name for yourself. I even still think right now he might be my Heisman. They're just Dante Moore definitely has made a name for himself. Beck has played great too. But when I think of Heisman moments, Mateer's the only one who's like had a few of them where I'm like, this guy.
So, like,
is
you missed the Kent State game. Like, what was that going to do for your Heisman candidacy?
Nothing.
You'll be able to show us something against Ole Miss, Tennessee, Alabama, Missouri, and LSU to end the season, even if you miss one of those. Yes. I mean, you're going to have the moments right in front of you in those types of games, and people are going to forget that you missed 2-3 games with a thumb injury real fast if you're beating those teams.
Exactly.
Man, Brent Venables, they were ready to throw him out of the state a couple of years ago. Who knew that if you just get a couple years to build one, you might be successful. Couple more games. We've got Iowa State, Colorado. Unfortunately for Dion, who's not in great health at all. Man. Blood clots and things. It's just not good news ever when he has to speak about that. Florida, again, has to go to 5th ranked now. Texas A&M. Great. Wonderful for them. Georgia's at Auburn. That's always exciting. Michigan, USC. You want to talk about Jersey matchups?
I will be at that game. Very pumped.
Hopefully you bring good luck to the California team. South Carolina at LSU, Arizona State at Utah, big one there for the Big 12. So we're in the thick of it. We're in the heart of these games matter, these games count, and it's exciting to be at this point in the college football season, despite the surprise that some have felt from it.
Yeah, no doubt. another team that's quietly just moving along, Texas A&M.
Yeah.
A very impressive start to the season. Elko has those boys playing some really good football. You don't have a ton of like star players on that team who are like movers of the needle, but they just play good football and they just figure out how to win games. If Napier gets a win against them, it's like, okay, you saved your job.
Yeah, you have to.
Right? Like no doubt.
Like they should just sign him an extension.
Yeah, just give him it.
To show good faith in the end zone, like meeting Herm Edwards after the loss. This be the opposite. Here it is. They could have a quill or some like grand gesture where it's a scroll, make it a big thing, have the band come around and play a tune. Like if you win that one,
a gator tooth. Let
the guy celebrate one like that.
Wait, hold on. Have you watched the Lane Kiffin documentary yet?
I haven't, and I need to because
the homework for the week, John. It's amazing. One of the best sports documentaries I've ever watched. I love it, and I as a Giant fan would love for him to head up to New York to be the coach.
Be nice.
That's just me.
Well, a quick toast to roast to get us out of here. Speaking of documentaries, North Carolina no longer moving forward with the in-season documentary with Hulu. Sources close to the program told Inside Carolina the team announced its plan in August to collaborate with Hulu to showcase the team this season. Why? What happened? This is the one we want to watch. Forget about success or whatever you thought was going to happen. This is the documentary. You want to win all the awards? Dude. I want to see this documentary of this team. They had to have camera people around, right? Preparing for this, even if they decided to stop it now or a couple weeks ago. There's footage somewhere getting ready for the season. That first TCU game, no question, they had a camera crew ready to go. Show us the tapes. Forget about releasing the Epstein files, but please do.
Please
release these. We need to see this documentary, even if it's not finished yet. Just give it to us raw. Some nerd in college football from the sickos, they'll put it together and audition and all that stuff. We'll have it. Just release it to us.
If you're Hulu, why are you not releasing
Why
this?
Are you not? Why are you not selling it to somebody else? Give them the rights.
What?
Give them the footage. Yeah, it's too bad.
It's a
and
shame.
Then speaking of North Carolina too, this was also hilarious from Tar Heel 247. 57 photos by Getty Images of the Clemson UNC game are out from that contest. 23 of them are of Jordan Hudson. First of all, to the photographers of Getty, bonk. What are we doing? I mean, the game was that bad to where maybe in the third quarter they're like, well, we might as well just take a couple of her and maybe she'll do something for us, put it on Instagram and tag us and we can get some extra publicity because what's on the field is not really something people need to see right now.
Feinbaum said this, I think, either today or the day before. This is the worst head coaching job ever.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, man, like it can't be that bad. And now I'm like, wait, it's up there. It's definitely up there. The buyout, I believe, is $1 million, right?
Yeah, it's not unaffordable. They could easily do it, but it just when they put the list together of coaches that took over programs that were depleted or whatever, especially during the NIL era, and what they've built as new coaches compared to what Bill's doing over there in Chapel Bill, it's bad, man. It's bad. I don't know what he thought was going to happen, but him and Lombardi just were on a different planet, it feels like. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know how. I don't know. Nobody sat them down and told them what the college football world is, but they're in for a lot of trouble for not just this season, next season, but you would think
the ACC is good.
Yeah.
The ACC is good. Maybe I really think they walked into this and being like, we have a chance to be a top 5 team at least here. And then the ACC just started becoming the ACC since week 1 or week 0. So, man, I am not toasting to Hulu for not coming out with these gold mine because it would be probably one of the most watched things between both male and female because like everyone would want to see how this was going on. It would be hilarious just to see another side of Bill that we've never seen before. Before we get out of here, Johnny, do we see him surviving the season? Let's start with that.
I don't think they'll fire him.
Yeah.
I would just be interested to see whether he's done after having to watch some of the carnage during these games and stand there on the sidelines while it's just gone completely the other direction. Or if it's like NCAA 26, where he's hoping maybe some other team will take another flyer on him and he can go to another program. But like, you had to go to somewhere that was already established, man. I don't know how you thought you were going to build this from the ground up in 2025. It's just not how it goes. You can't under the table pay these guys to come play for you in North Carolina. There's competition now. And you think dudes watching what's happening in North Carolina want to run and play for Bill Belichick when he's telling the Patriots to get lost, don't scout us because he's still salty about what happened with them? Not happening. So unfortunately, we missed out on that. Very disappointing. That'll do it for the Sick Media Coast to Coast College Football Show. I'm at London Bridge on Twitter. He's at Dan Lynch Sports, SPURTS. We're also at SickPod CFB. Catch some of our clips there as well. Please follow us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You can find us there. Leave a glowing review. Do all the things. Share it. You know the drill. We're not the first show to tell you that it's surprising that we're in week 7 of college football, or to subscribe, rate, and review our show. And you mentioned Paul Feinbaum, Dan. Shout out to him for not getting canceled. See you guys next week.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Coast to Coast College Football on YouTube, X, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.